Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lorcanarama episode 6. I'm your host, Kelsey, and with me is co-host Sabrina. How you doing, Sabrina?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. Hey, tonight we have for you a special guest, Judge Phil. We'll pull him up in a minute, but I got to ask Sabrina a question. How was your holiday?
It was good. It was relaxing. How was yours?
I Well, my in-laws don't watch this, but I went to my in-laws. So, no, it was relaxing. Actually, when I go to their house, I relax a lot. It's one of the few places I actually can relax. And then I followed it up by taking off work and starting remodeling on a house. So, actually, to get in here tonight and do this was kind of it was just it was hairy today. I wasn't so sure I was going to get in. Yeah. So it's okay. Got a daughter who needs a room. So that's life's priorities right now. So playing any Lorcana?
Have not lately. Have not.
No.
Trying to decide what deck list I'm going to play for set champs.
Ooh, I got one I'm honing in on right now. So it's going to be Emerald Amethyst. That's for sure.
Exactly.
That's what I'm going to do. All right. I'm going to bring Phil in and we all greet him. So Phil, welcome to Lorcanarama. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. For those of you who don't know, and I'll let Phil introduce himself in a moment, tell a little bit about himself, but Phil is, I met Phil as a judge at the DLCs. He's one of our main judges there. And, I moonlight as a scorekeeper. And so I don't get to interact with the judges as much as I did in Toronto and the other ones. But anyways, Phil's a hard worker. I do notice that about him. So, and I've seen him in a couple streams and podcasts. I think you were on at the time it was called the Cross Continental Challenge. I think you judged that, right? Did you judge one of those?
Yeah, I am for season 1 of that. I was under Albert, so okay. Previous head judge for PPG, judging the LCCC. Currently, I am the head judge of the LCCC for this season.
Woohoo! There you go.
Also, for other online stuff, I'm head judging the ICL, and then it's a lot of local judging in my area.
Nice. So all the judging you do, like, what's your favorite aspect of judging? And let me start first. Like, is it local? Is it the LCCs? Is it the DLCs? I mean, I'm sure they all got their pros and cons, but
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, local wise, I love being able to provide a service for Lorcana, essentially, like being able to provide and ensure that the game is going to run smoothly at any store I go to, make sure that my players feel like they're heard and feel like they are, they have support. They're not just riding like on whatever the whim of what the TO might say or the store or some other player, right? There's an quote unquote, I mean, there's no official judge, but there's a judge who is experienced at the store that is helping guide the event along. So I really enjoy that. But then also working at DLCs or LCCC, ICL, that kind of stuff, it's really cool being able to interact with the high level players, the very competitive level players. So and that's on a regular basis, right? I can say hi to like all these players, like DKP or Zan or Moyen, Wonderland, stuff like that. I get to like essentially have small chats with them or have interactions with them, and that's really cool to be able to see what and see firsthand like how they play and what they're bringing to the game and stuff like that. So that's really interesting.
It's cool. I had the same kind of experience too in the DLCs. It's like, instead of the players though, it's the content creators. Since I'm really interested in the community aspect, they're the ones that I tend to gravitate towards, just to talk to them and pick their brains and stuff, and some of them are some of the players, right? Some of the top players too, it's pretty neat. It's neat to come back. I remember the first time I came back from one, and I had all these stories, I was talking about it. I felt like a local celebrity, but then I was like, well, it's just another level to me, But so I appreciate and what you said about locals too. I like that. I was thinking about that actually today while I was working, and remodeling and stuff, I was thinking about, I like it when folks are comfortable enough to stop in the middle of their game and say, "Hey, Kelsey, we got a question," and
Yeah, for sure.
they don't hesitate to ask, and I don't mind answering if I know it. I don't know it all, but most of it's simple enough to answer. But the fact that they're comfortable enough to ask, like you said, they don't have to worry about another player or the TO or anything like that. So that's cool. Sabrina, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you got to smack me and tell me.
I know, but
hold
y'all are talking about judging, and I don't judge.
You're sitting there judging us right now, So.
I was afraid to call a judge until I went to my first DLC, actually. I was terrified. I actually had to have Dick Burns, funny enough, called a judge for me at a set champ because I was terrified. And he was sitting next to me and he's like, "Do you want me to call the judge for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, please."
So why were you scared?
But then I don't know. Like, to me, calling a judge is like yelling for the teacher. Like, you had to do something wrong.
It's like you're tattling, right?
Yeah. And that's definitely not it. Like, there's plenty of valid reasons to call a judge that have nothing to do with anybody doing anything wrong. But that was just the connotation I had, and it scared me.
I mean, I have heard from a lot of female players or marginalized gendered players that they are scared to call judge, and part of that is because of the how they feel being represented in Lorcana or in TCGs, right? They feel like it's a very male-dominated space. They feel like if they're calling for a judge, players look down on them like, oh, it's just this female being upset, or someone just causing drama, when that's not the case. And I hope that any event that I'm at, my players feel safe enough to call judge, because, and I remind them, and I tell all my friends that, we're here to make sure that the game is played correctly, and we're here to make sure that everyone's having a fun time, right? Because if you're not having fun playing it because someone's doing something sneaky or something feels off, like, that's what we're here to correct. You should feel safe to do that.
1000%. And I will say, like, the DLC judges overall have been great, and I've gotten much more comfortable calling a judge, including on myself in Vegas. That was extremely embarrassing. There was a photographer that came around at the exact moment that the judge walked up to me, and I was like, this is not the moment that I want photographed. But it was, so it's fine. It's a funny story now.
Well, tell it. Let's hear it.
I have a horrible habit of shuffling. I mulligan, and before I draw my new set of cards, I shuffle, like, reflexively. And I didn't know what the resolution was. So I called the judge, and it's like, no big deal. Like, I didn't do it on purpose. I'm the only one at a disadvantage because I have a higher chance of seeing the same cards. But as the judge is, like, giving me a game warning for it, the photographer's, like, in my face. And I'm like, seriously? Like, this is not my finest moment, and now it will be remembered forever, because I definitely saved the photo when it got published. It's like a funny story now, but in the moment it was not.
So when I first played, I came from the game that shall not be named background, right? So I remember the first set champ for Lorcana. That was my first foray into playing Lorcana at that level that I had played the other game for years. And I know the toxicity that existed in that game in a competitive environment. And so I assumed it existed with Lorcana as well. So I go into the set championships, and, I was playing a person that I knew, but I didn't know well. We just knew each other. And I made a mistake playing a card. It wasn't that I played the wrong card. It was the wrong card fell out of my hand, as an actual, that. And so I was like, hey, that's not what I meant to do. Can I take it? He goes, no, the card you played is the way. I was like, really? I was like, that's the way it's going to be. And I switched. And this is why I don't play competitive. If you remember, I keep telling you, Sabrina, I don't play competitive. This incident is the epitome of why I don't do competitive play, because I flipped a switch at that point. I was calm. I said, that's okay. And I nitpicked him. and I nitpicked him to the point that he exploded and started cussing. And, I called a judge on him. I was like, because I asked him an innocent question. I think I asked him, he got his hand and his inkwell mixed up. I go, which one's your hand and which one's your inkwell? And he flipped over his inkwell and showed me. And so I called the judge because he revealed his inkwell, right? And so I nitpicked him on that. And then he, to prove a point, took his hand and hid it under his playmat. So then I called the judge again for him hiding his cards, and because they're supposed to be public information. And I felt so bad about that afterwards. Like, I mean, I was horrible. I felt it's because that's not my character, right? And to this day, he and I made up. I went and we're like, hey, we got to resolve this. And I was in the wrong. He felt he was in the wrong too. And to this day, we're very good friends because of it, But in fact, he was the one who got Ryan Miller to sign my playmat in Atlanta for me. So when I was there as a player. But that's why I don't do competitive play, was because I took from that other game a way to use a judge to nitpick the situation to get my way and to escalate something. And I shouldn't have done that. And so I told my friends, I said, I can't do competitive because that will come out in me and I don't want it to, so yeah.
Well, you have to say with great power comes great responsibility, right? So.
Yeah. So now I am judging. So I have more fun doing that anyways. It's like, there's stress judging, but not the stress from playing. It's different. So, but anyways.
I mean, it is. And I get a lot of my players asking like, "Oh, when are you going to play? When are you going to play?" And my normal response is, "Hey, man, I make I get a guaranteed payout every time I come to these events judging.
Yeah.
Versus having to stress out and possibly not make top cut or not get a payout and spend money. So I'm happy to not, but I will say every now and then during some downtime in between tournament, like during the tournaments, I'll be able to get a game in with some friends, and that always is like sometimes I really wish I was sitting down and playing as a player.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would like playing competitively. So like when we met in Atlanta, Kelsey, that was my my fiance plays competitively, has played every TCG under the sun competitively. And I was like, I'll give it a shot, but I think I'm going to hate this. And I ended up leaving that weekend and was like, all right, what's the next one? Let's go. Like, we're buying tickets. When are they announcing the next one? Let's go. So like that was a huge thing for me, but I definitely understand like the competitive side is so different. It's such a different world.
Yeah, and I'm thankful too for Atlanta and the DLC because that's what like I went there even after that incident because I had made a promise I would go. And so I went because mainly, we had scheduled the Airbnb. I couldn't just cancel because I had a bunch of other people that were going with me from the store. And so I went there and that going to Atlanta and meeting the staff and meeting the players like Sabrina and other players that I met that day are what changed my mind. I still didn't want to play competitively, but I wanted to be part of that community. And that was why I went down the route of being staff. It was because I said, this is special. I want my daughter to be able to enjoy this, right? And so I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that still exists when she's old enough to go to a DLC and kind of, do her own thing. So that'd be cool. So when you get to the DLCs, Phil, what's your favorite part? Other than, I know you talked about interacting with the players, but as you're there on the floor as a judge, I have my favorite part. Believe it or not. But I want to ask you, like, what's your favorite thing to do when you're actually there?
Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, like for DLCs and stuff, the travel is fun, but I'm one of those people that, I have 2 kids at home and a wife at home that it's hard for me to justify taking up the day to explore or travel. So usually for DLCs, I'm just locked up and just go to the event and then the hotel at home, and that's pretty much it. But being at the events and just feeling the energy, like the excitement that players have, right?
Yeah.
Since Vegas and Seattle and stuff, I was, in the top cut areas, and witnessing players like make that make or break moment, or win into the top 8 to get that Mickey, and you just see like sheer joy and energy from them. Um, it's awesome. It's just
Yep.
great feeling those vibes, being part of it.
It's funny you say that because that's my favorite part is to take a break, walk away from what I'm doing, you know, because it's just every now and then it'll slow down enough for me to walk away from the scorekeeper table. You know, Ben and Andrew, who are the guys who mentor me, they've got it, you know, and just stop at the top cut area and just watch them play and see what you were talking about. See you guys sitting there. You're like, I used to be a drill instructor in the Marine Corps, and then I turned that into being a drill instructor for boys in juvenile homes. And I used to sit there and I would watch the boys. I would just stand and just watch them. And one of the kids came up to me and says, you know, we call you Peeping Tom, right? And, you know, but they liked it because it was like they felt safe because they knew nobody was going to try anything on them while I was there, right? And I think it was, I don't know who it was, one of the judges. I walked by and I saw them with that same look and stance that I would do to the boys. And I go, he's a peeping Tom. He's making sure these guys know that nothing bad is going to happen. Nobody's going to pull shenanigans on them because the way they were watching that match, you know? And that's something that as a judge, you know, is very important. It's not just knowing the rules. It's that level of comfort you give to the players to know not only, you know, like I'm still going to watch my opponent, but the judge is also watching my opponent as well too, you know, to make sure there's no shenanigans. And so that's a sense of comfort there. I think for a lot of guys, take some of that stress off of them. So you have something, Phil. Oh, first, before we go to that, today, we talked about this earlier. Today, PPG, since we talked about them a little bit, they put a post up last night that they had a big announcement today. And so, you know, in the midst of my remodeling, I was like, I got to be done by 4:00 so I can get there and see this announcement because I just knew that we were going to get something about Worlds, right? You know, my wife was excited because we're waiting. We got this trip just ready to go, you know, because we can drive down to Disney World if that's where it's at. But alas, that's not what we got, was it? So here is the announcement from PPG today. Not that I am disappointed that it wasn't Worlds, but this is okay, I guess. So what we have here is on 4th of July weekend, July 4th, 5th, and 6th, in Fort Worth, Texas. PPG is going to be putting on a 5K tournament. It's called the Pro Play Summit. There's two big tournaments. On Friday, there's a 5K tournament. And then on Saturday, there's a 15K tournament. And then this one will go to a top cut that will be played out on Sunday with side events. So with PPG's history of putting on the DLCs and based on what I've seen, this looks like for all intents and purposes, a non-Ravensburger sanctioned DLC, type event. So maybe, I mean, I use the word Ravensburger sanctioned lightly. It's just that it didn't come from Ravensburger, I guess. So,
right. And it's one of those things where we kind of know that anything involving hard numbers on the value of things is kind of not what Ravensburger or Disney want to promote. So seeing the 5K in rewards, we don't know if that's 5K in cash or, you know, promos or that kind of thing. But 5K in rewards is kind of something that they don't want official sanctioned events to be using, right?
Valid
so
point.
This 5K and then I think it's a 15K on the Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yes.
They just don't want it to be shown that way.
15K. I think the 15K specifies
Oh yeah,
cash, which
well,
I
there you go.
also thought was weird because it makes me wonder at least, what is 5K in rewards? Because it makes me think it's not cash. If they're specifying cash for 15K, what are we distributing as 5K in rewards?
I mean, like if you're looking at July 4th, it's like a month after release. It could be like a 10 case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I imagine a lot of people will go. That's a big tournament. It's somewhere where a DLC has been, and albeit miserable experience for a lot of people. So, but a DLC nonetheless. They are returning back there. The biggest drawback to me is it's Texas in July. We already talked about this. Good gravy. Is it going to be hot? So, yeah. So there's
that goes back to my thing where I just go to the venue, the hotel, and I'm never outside. So when I travel, it's okay for me.
That's one right there.
Funny.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
When we went to Texas last year, I didn't bring a hoodie. I always bring a hoodie when I travel because I get cold. And Toby was like, "No, you'll be fine. Don't bring the hoodie." Well, we land in Texas, and unless you are outside, it is freezing everywhere we went. The airport, freezing. The hotel, freezing. The convention center, freezing. I actually had to buy us a PPG hoodie to share because we were both freezing the entire time. So lesson learned about Texas, I don't care how hot it is outside. You want to bring an extra layer for sure. Word to the wise, bring the extra layer.
Yeah, you go for it.
You were so cold the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know that's going to happen in July though. Whew, good. Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, last year it was in the DLC. Last year was in July.
Was it?
Yeah, it was late. It was late July. Yeah,
It was like the 3rd week of July.
yeah.
Don't know what happened. Global warming, right? Climate change, one or the other. So,
I mean, but it's true, right? When they have 1,000 or 2,000 players in a room, they're gonna pump out AC like crazy.
yeah.
Thankfully, I mean, I would so much rather be cold at an event than hot and miserable.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. So, well, if you ever go over to the European ones, very few venues over there have AC. So they have some that do, but
But I will say, I mean, at least this tells us that. Well, hopefully this isn't the same weekend as Worlds. We still don't know when Worlds is, but I would be surprised if PPG didn't know.
Yeah.
And would host it on the same time, because that they would lose some. Well, depending on what Worlds is, we still don't even know what Worlds is. But depending on what Worlds is, they could lose a lot of player count from that.
Yeah, I mean, lots of rumors going around that PPG may or may not be hosting Worlds for Ravensburger, and you can read what you want into this, right? So it's I told my wife, I go, well, I guess Worlds isn't on 4th of July weekend. That was the only thing I could pull out of this. So
are you going to apply to work it?
I don't know. She asked me about it, and I come back to what I said earlier. It's Texas in July. So, I may.
It's one of those things where
I'm not going, and then looking at flights.
Yeah.
I'd love to work it. It's just, again, without that information from Worlds, I feel like I'm in a lock of, I want to put myself on a line of, traveling here, and then what if Worlds is the week before or the week after, and then immediately traveling again.
Yep. And for me, it's like when I was doing the DLCs, I was saving up my leave from work so I could go and do those. And then my wife would come along to some of them, and we'd stay an extra day or two, like Toronto, we did that. Anaheim, we did that. And my daughter came and we all went to Disneyland. And so, it's like you said, if I go and take this weekend off and then Worlds was 2 weeks later or 2 weeks earlier, number one, that's my priority, because when I started judging, my goal was I wanted to be a judge at Worlds, right? That's that's my goal. And so it's, that's priority for me. And so without that information, like you said, I'm hesitant to commit to it,
because I'm also hesitant because part of judging for me for Lorcana specifically is I just, it's not a money thing. I don't go to these events for money.
No,
I just go to be part of the official experience for the game.
Yeah.
And if this is like a non-official thing, then, it would be akin to applying to work at a CCS or an SCG Con, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, it sounds fun, but, it's not a Disney Lorcana official event, and I don't know. I don't get the same draw for it,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that depending on the timing of this, with other things, I think this one will attract a lot of people. Probably a lot of players.
Sure.
Yeah.
As a player, I think the biggest positive is there's a well communicated large tournament. Because I think part of what I've seen lately is there are a lot of bigger, 8K, 10K, whatever tournaments, but I don't necessarily hear about them up my way until a week or two beforehand. This one, it's April 27th and we know about a July tournament. So I think that's great. That's going to bring a lot of people. But as the negative and the downside of a player is it does suggest that Worlds, isn't that weekend. Does it suggest that it's before or after? What does that say about DLCs? And for me personally, I was a little bit hoping that it was a Worlds or DLC event, like notification, and then to find out that it was just an event in Texas was like, yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So tickets did go on sale as well on Eventbrite. They are available.
Yeah.
I did see that. And they're about DLC prices. So actually a little bit more expensive. But
yeah, they're a little more, and all the early access ones sold out.
Yeah. So, I mean, that tells you that folks are, I mean, they're clamoring for something like this in the absence of a DLC. This is a space filler in a way, time filler. It's not irrelevant. I definitely I'm not making light of it at all. I applaud PPG for filling in a void right now. And who better suited to do that than the folks who have been hosting the DLC anyways. I just, the disappointment doesn't come from me with PPG hosting an event. That's not what this is about. The disappointment is just like everybody else. I just want to know when Worlds is and can we go to it, and that's it.
I don't think that's an unfair criticism. We are, for lack of a better word, held hostage because, even as we're not competitors, and that's fine. We're not, even if they only invited competitors for Worlds,
that
are Worlds qualified, even if it's some tiny event, as potential judge staff, we've been kind of like, I don't want to work anything or push travel or lock myself into something when I really just want to be tapped for this event. I really want to participate and be on that floor and be part of that.
Yep.
And it's just crazy. So and then all the players who are hopeful that there's some DLC attached to it, some other, tons of sides. Even if they're not competing in a main event, they want to be there for the sides. They want to be there because it's Disney Lorcana. It's the official Worlds event.
Yeah,
they want to be a part of it.
Folks see it as a celebration. It is, even if they can't play in the World Championship, they are still celebrating that DLC season, that first World Championship, and they want to be a part of that. They don't want to miss out on that. They may not ever attend anything else again, but they'll come to that Worlds because they don't want to miss out on that, And I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't doubt it if Disney has gotten a hold of it. They realize there's money to be made in this, and they want to broadcast it because they own ESPN, right? As one of the esports on TV, and it's just the competitors locked away in some room, without a crowd, and they just broadcast it on television. I'm not saying that's what will happen, but I said I wouldn't put it past Disney to do something like that if it could make money for them, to get the game out there.
I think that's part of the rumors.
Yeah.
I think the part of the rumors is that Disney is realizing just how big Lorcana is for. I mean, Disney Lorcana is for their brand, right?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, they license a lot of their stuff out to a lot of different things, and now that this is becoming such a huge thing, such a global phenomenon for them, I think that they're stepping in and just being a bit more protective of their brand, their IP. I've heard things where Disney is coming into Ravensburger and essentially being like, hey, if we're going to continue this product or this thing, like we need these things, we need to vet your content creators to be Disney brand, or your judges might even need to be Disney brand or on brand and stuff like that. So there's a whole thing that I feel like they're doing, and then it's Disney, right? They probably don't care if what they're doing is strangling the game, because they're just like, well, if it fails, then oh well, we're still Disney, and if it doesn't fail, then hey, now we have control of this huge thing that's going to continue moving forward and continue trucking. And they don't care that it damages the reputation. And maybe they do. I shouldn't say they don't, but they may not care that it damages the reputation of Ravensburger because they're tying Ravensburger into not being able to communicate with us, not being able to tell us, hey, we're holding back or we're delaying because we just want to make sure everything is right. And I think even if like we had that kind of confirmation of just like, hey, things are being a little bit held back just to make sure everything is right for you guys, expect an update by this time, right? Or like, a few weeks or something, some kind of just guided messaging and little snippets here and there instead of just total silence. I think we'd be happy, but we're not even getting.
That would go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, with PPG, with this event here, I took from it when I saw it, I go, okay, I said earlier, they're stepping up to fill a void. They recognize that people want something like this, even if it can't be delivered yet for whatever reason, from Ravensburger. I think everybody would love for Ravensburger to be doing these, but they can't for whatever reason. And so, the fact that the community is now stepping up because PPG is part of the community, right? And so they're stepping up to create those opportunities for players to go in and to basically, quench those competitive fires that they have. And, which is pretty neat. I think Pavel did a lot of that with the LCCs, in the absence of, we had this big gap, right? But there's the LCC to kind of entertain us in between without any DLCs. And I've been enjoying that quite a bit. So, can't wait for the next one. Phil, you had a thing too I wanted to pull up and show folks. So Phil has created a nice little snazzy tool on the internet. It's ie-enchanted.com, IE for Inland Empire. And I'll let you, Phil, just tell us what we have here.
Sure. So, originally when Lorcana came out, it was really hard for everybody. I mean, obviously just finding product was one thing, but also finding a place to play it because we didn't know who was running leagues, what stores doing what, because the game was so new that it was hard to find products, hard to find stores, and people didn't know where or when they could play. So originally this was a spreadsheet on Google Docs that I created where I worked with a lot of stores, getting their information down, just getting, hey, what day are you running Lorcana? What times? What's your information on that? And then that led into me creating separate tabs where it was set champ information where like I would try to then work with stores. I'm like, hey, you have several stores in your area. Maybe you don't want to run set champs on the exact same day, right? Because give your players enough range to go hit multiple events and stuff like that. And yeah, so from there, I created this website a few months ago. I was bored on a weekend, and I said, you know what, let's make it a real thing and map it out. And yeah, so this is the Inland Empire Enchanted website. It's a regional website for me in particular, though I'm happy to share the code base with anybody if they want to make a copy of this and turn it into something for their area. Be happy to share that with them. But yeah, it's just a lot of the data is there. It's just what I get from stores, set champs information or their weeklies, and you can filter it and track it and find your next Lorcana game.
And the data, just to reiterate, you put that in on your own. You're not like pulling it from anywhere like that automatically or anything like that.
No, it's all crowdsourced. I get it from the Facebook groups, or I talk to the store owners, and it's a way for me to help all the stores in my area too, because they want to, as we're saying, fill in the void, fill in the gaps and stuff. I have a lot of stores in my area that want to run bigger events, but if multiple stores are running big events, then it becomes like, hey, can we work together to not steal players from each other, essentially? right? Give players options or different weekends in which they can attend things.
So if people wanted to contribute data to it, how would they do that? Or would you even be able to be in a position to like, oh, okay, I'll put your data in for you too, and we'll see where your stuff pops up? Or
Yeah, so I mean, for me putting data in right now, it would be local to my area. And again, if people wanted the code base to host it for Michigan area or for Florida area, I'd be happy to help them spin that up and then show them how to enter the data.
mm-hmm.
But I do have some friends that, if you look on the bottom left there, there's like a login button. But I do have some friends that have logins to the website so they can add and edit, fix set champs and stuff like that.
Now you do have.
And then on top of that,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, and then on top of that, we added this judge locator thing on there where, yeah. And that was just a fun thing because, again, we have a lot of stores, we have a lot of judges out in the world. PPG really, with the first DLC season, brought us all together from different places. And it's cool to see like just how spread out we are and just how much like where there's coverage. And coming from my area, coming from what I want to do with the game, which is provide a service to stores and just say, hey, like, if you want your players to be happy with, especially when we're talking about set champs or large events, right? You want someone familiar with the game, familiar with the rules, and possibly have some experience in judging to be a part of that and help ensure that your players have a good experience so that they come back, so that they're excited for the next event. So we created this map where we've have all these judges everywhere. And you can, if you're a store owner or planning to run an event somewhere, you can kind of zoom into where you are and say, do I have it? Is there a judge in my area? Is there someone willing to cover my area, right? And I think that was, a lot of the judges we have these different various judge discords, but they're really excited about that idea. So slapped it together for them.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, here, there's me right there. So, I think it's pretty neat. Like you said, I really enjoy coming on here and say, hey, where are all my fellow judges at? And that was a bit fun seeing all the coverage that we had here. So, and then and not to say that this is all the judges, it's just the ones who gave you information. Right. And so
I didn't stalk everybody. I went and asked. I said, hey, if you want to be part of it, please give me your information.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of our crew that for PPG is down here in South Florida. That's the real Florida. I live in the fake part of Florida. I was surprised to see such a big concentration up here. But I think I know which group that is. It's pretty neat. It'd be nice to see more and more people make it on here so we can kind of let's get the whole map covered, right? So
we need Central USA to stand, to represent somewhere.
In all fairness, like 2 people live in North Dakota. So, it's like you probably won't get that covered unless we just allow somebody to expand out, right? And then
you're telling me that's where I should go for set champs, right? That's a guaranteed top 8.
Yeah. If you could find a store up there that has electricity, But now the folks in North Dakota are gonna. I'm sorry. They're not listening anyways. Anyways, then there's Alaska, right? And I do know that people play in Alaska because they sat next to Sabrina and I during the DLC in Atlanta.
That's right.
Joker drove from Atlanta. In fact, we need to get him on, Sabrina. We need to find out who that was and ask them what they were thinking. I want to know about that trip. They drove from Alaska to Atlanta for the first DLC. It was 2 of them. They came together. They didn't fly. They drove. So,
we got to post in one of the groups and see if we can track them down.
Yep. There's them and there's Jafar from Toronto. I'm still looking for Jafar from Toronto. I have not been able to find him.
No luck?
No. I need to repost that picture and maybe somebody will. In fact, you know what? I'm going to make a wanted sign and I'm going to close every episode of this show with that. And,
So funny. I'm not looking forward to Jafar being such a prominent character in the next couple sets. I have beef with Jafar.
Well, I don't know if you saw what Zan did this weekend with Jafar, but yeah, so
I have some childhood trauma
well,
with Jafar.
you're about to get some more.
I know.
So,
I need therapy for this.
it's great to watch it when one of those players, like Phil was saying, those big players like that, they come out and they win a tournament. Like they were just playing in Arkansas, and he wins with Jafar, and guess what? Enchanted has spiked in price now.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think that because he works for he's under World Class Cards, that they just tell him, they're like, hey, we have a surplus of this card. Can you make a deck that and make it good?
Right.
And he's such a good player that he can.
He'll make it work, right?
Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, hey, we're just gonna sell a bunch of these cards.
Zan will go out and win with a deck and then set up all these other people to go and take this subpar deck, and he goes, I got him. Next DLC, they're all showed up with his deck, and he's then moved on to something else, right? He's ahead of the meta.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be ahead of the meta when you're crafting it.
Yeah.
So, you can shape the whole meta.
Yeah, they did. Like, they did it the last podcast. They were talking about that when they went to Miami and they played, and they were like, all right, let's see if we get Popsicle banned. and they got Fortisphere banned and Hiram banned. So the three of them were basically the top decks there. Yeah, it's neat to kind of watch those guys, and I haven't seen any of the results from the tournament in Europe this weekend that they had, the one in Ravensburg in the city there. So a lot of the European players were traveling to that to play, and so I was curious if that one. I think that was this weekend. Pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We even had Kendall from the States come out for that as well.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm sure we had it, because somebody said, yeah, Kendall was playing and they had his deck list up, what he was playing. So yeah, I'd be curious to see the deck list from that and the results from that one as well too. So it's pretty good. I like how it's almost like two different metas, right? Because they have actually sometimes somewhat regional. I know in South Florida, a lot of people like to play Steel, Steel Song and stuff like that. And in Europe, they like to play a lot of Emerald Amethyst, and various people. It just seems to be, it's kind of neat. I guess it's just the cliques of folks that get together and test, and they have their own version of what deck is best. So. Around here, it's whatever.
Like, if the meta supports what you want to play locally, then it works out better for you.
Yeah.
Like, I know even going to set champs in my area, like, historically speaking, some stores lean more into some color combinations than others.
Yeah.
Like, there's some stores that you're going to go to where you're going to run into more blue item decks. There's other stores you're going to run into way more, like, green aggro decks or purple aggro decks. So, and if that's the case and the meta in your area, then you're able to rely on or stay on the same deck.
Yeah. So Cass in our chat was saying, and she's one of our local players here, haven't watched all of the German tournament, but believe the finals was Steel Song versus Chernadogs. Ooh, spicy. So yeah, I played a couple of matches against the Chernadogs deck, and it's if you know it's coming, I think you can deal with it, at least with what I play. But if you don't, you won't be able to deal with it. So,
it's a hard deck.
That's you're blindsided.
But it falters very fast if you have like any kind of tempo to it. Even like if you slap down a Calhoun on turn 2, I'm pretty sure you lock them out of the game.
Yeah. So, by the way, Cass also put a comment in the chat if you haven't seen it there, Phil. Incredible, cool map project. Thank you for the work you put into it. So,
appreciate
there
that.
we go. We got you another fan. So, and that's it. And that's, I'll put that in the chat. Let me put the website in there for that. IE Enchanted. That way folks can go in there and look at it.
Yeah, and again, if you are a person who wants to organize for your area, I will say, Lorcana has been one of those weird things because as a person that's a fan of Disney, I think that there was just a lot of extra passion that people put into to Lorcana, right? And me being one of those people, I wanted to keep it alive as much as possible because I just enjoy the game so much. that's where I created. I enchanted. I created, originally it was a spreadsheet, and the funny thing is that I have a different person. I want to say they're Indiana, and I met them through PPG staffing, and they also had their own spreadsheet, right, for Indiana, like set gems and locals and stuff like that. And it's just, people are more than welcome to take my code for this. It's all free. I don't really care. If they want to host it and run it and design it towards their area, please. It's all open source code anyways. So
yeah, I may get with you on that. So I think I've been wanting to do something like this for our area too. We have several good stores around here in our area that they come together. Well, we had some of them come together just recently from each direction, and we hosted a tournament and kind of had what we called our Emerald Coast Championship, first one, Emerald Coast Challenge. So that part of Florida that we live in is called the Emerald Coast because of the green water. So it's pretty. But what we want to do,
the water's green.
It's so pretty. It's green. It's clear.
I feel like I need to see this water because the thought of green water being a good thing has my mind.
Pull up a picture of Destin, Florida beach. Yeah, it's gorgeous. That's why it's called the Emerald Coast. So
I will say, Kelsey, if you do something like this, it's also very helpful for you as a judge because you get to coordinate with stores saying, "Hey, I'll judge on this day. Please don't schedule, your set chat on this day because I'm already judging for a different store and stuff like that."
Yeah, we're Charles Eligio. He's lived one city over from me, so he's one of the stores in the area too. So he actually came and helped me out at that tournament. I was like, "Hey man, I think we're gonna have full house. Would you mind coming to help me?" And then all of a sudden, people started dropping like flies on the day of. And we had I think we had 31 people registered at one point, and in the end, Charles ended up playing to make number 16 for us. But we stuck to the pricing. We gave out a case for the pricing because our shop owner really just took a chance. She wanted to invest in the Lorcana community and say, you know what, we can really, I would really like to be known for bringing these competitive players in and hosting events like this. And so that's what we want. That was the first one. We will do another one. So, after I get over, being mad at everybody, I was kind of the TO for it in a way, pushed it. And I was like, oh, come on, folks. This is but at the same time, we scheduled it the week after one of the Charlie CCs. And I think a lot of folks have gone up to that and were worn out from that, because Atlanta's within driving distance for us. So
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, scheduling, local events is a really hard thing. I mean, there's so many different TCGs out there. There are large events that are everywhere right now because again, people are trying to fill that void.
Exactly.
Right? I think this past weekend, there were multiple 5Ks going on, and then the Ravensburg event as well. So, and then I think there's some events today too that I know players are going to. So it's everywhere. But I think definitely for these events, it becomes a community project, right? You need to be able to have outreach. You need to be able to work with content creators and just have them discuss your event and publish it and push it, and then you'll get the players. And also, a lot of it is just it's a numbers game. It's pricing. It's what do players want right now? Because if you're gonna, let's say for example, you're gonna offer a case of set 7 right before set 8 releases, like no one really cares.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Well, in all fairness, Arcasia's Island is so scarce around here where we're at. Like we did a chaos draft in this past weekend, and the store owner was like, I got a box of Arcasia's Island we could use. It was chaos draft, so we were just doing random facts from the sets. And when everybody, the folks that were there found out we actually were going to do Arcasia's Island, but they perked up, they were ready. And we actually pulled 2 enchanteds in this chaos draft between 8 people, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I got a Bell's House. Well, that was one of them. Is that really an enchanted card? I mean,
not anymore.
So, and then the person next to me pulled a glass slipper, which was great because he ended up drafting a couple Cinderellas and another glass slipper and won a game playing his enchanted glass slipper to get the lore. So that was neat. Those things we like. We have fun, Those are some things that we're looking for too, as we want to first take our local community, make Lorcana exciting for them in the absence of like competitive events and like the DLCs and stuff like that. And some of that is we host our own competitive events, but you also want to, there's some folks that just don't want to do the competitive play. So then you try to find the right amount of things for them to do as well too. And there's this fine, delicate balance there. It's like
it is a delicate balance. It's a lot of just knowing what your community wants, right? I kind of wish that I was nearer to a community that wants to do a lot more drafts or sealed type events, but in my area, not a lot of people do want to do that, so it's hard for those to happen or make it competitive or make it worthwhile to do. But then I hear stories all the time about different stores in different areas. They're like, oh, we're running a movie night where your deck has to be based on a franchise, or we're running a no rares and above type of event.
We did that. Porcana. That's what we called it.
Yeah.
I have some friends trying to get something together where like once a week or once a month we do a different theme. So like whether that's a movie franchise or something, like Porcana or whatever, just to kind of spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, we have one event scheduled where we're supposed to do team play, and you just come with a deck, and you're going to get a random teammate assigned to you that night. And that way people can't collude and plan ahead of time, build, major, these overpowered.
You just build red green.
Yeah, right.
Ruby Emerald. That's all you have to build when you're playing team games.
Yeah. That's what I would do for sure.
Just to make you lose. I'm gonna make every opponent lose lore. I'm gonna make every opponent discard a card. I'm gonna make every opponent choose and banish one of their own characters.
And I'm gonna gain lore for it, So there's also the purple Ursula from the first set. So she gets you lore for everybody. What is it? Everybody loses lore for each card you draw. Is that what it is? Something like that. I need to put that card up here on my thing for the card to look at. Figure out the rules for. Yeah, it's neat. We're fortunate in our area. We're all, I guess, we're all within an hour's driving distance of one another, and so if we put on a major event, folks can come. But we're getting that point of the year where the major road that gets from one place to the other is going to be filled with a lot of tourists, and so travel is going to get harder for us. It's going to take a lot longer, but. It'll be neat. It's that champ season, so I know I'm going to one. I feel obligated to go. Plus, I like the folks there. I won the set championship at one of our local stores last time, so I got to go back there and let them take it back.
Title.
Yeah, well, I don't know how well I'll defend it. I'll just let them take it back, or they'll earn it back. These folks there play. See, the problem is they all have tendencies, and one of them's listening right now. I know what you all play. I'm coming.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to
run ours on my birthday. So
what's that?
Oh, fun.
I got my local to run ours on my birthday.
Oh, sweet.
I was like, listen, if I'm gonna go to a set champ on my birthday, I would really like it to be your store because I like it here. And there's a really good coffee shop down the road, and I can make sure that we fill it. And they're like, all right, we'll do that. I was like, sweet.
Nice.
I don't think I'll actually be able to play any of the set champs in my this time around, but I will be judging a lot of the set champs.
Yep. I judge the one at my local store all the time. I don't get to play in my local store, which is probably good anyways. So, I won't.
Out of the 8 days, I'm judging 6 of them.
Woo. Wow. Nice.
I'm pretty sure I can't. Well, the first day, the May 3rd, is the day after my wife's birthday. So I'm pretty sure someone will be really upset with me or disappointed with me if I decided to be like, hey, I'm going to go judge or play Lorcana instead of celebrating my wife. And then Mother's Day, obviously, I'm pretty sure that the mother of my children would be very upset, and my mother and her mother would be very disappointed in me if I were just like, "Hey, you guys have fun."
Come back and answer to the story. Biggest mistake you made as a judge: judging a tournament on my wife's birthday. Oh man! All right, so I'll tell you what. Let's see if you can guess the card that we have for you today, Phil. So, all right, let's see. So I chose this card specifically for you. I know you know the card because you gave me one. So, all right. So here we go. All right. Here's the card. And for those who are listening, the card is Good Job. It is an action card, amber action card, 1 cost inkable. Good job. Phil, what does this card do? You give this card out to us as judge.
This card
So,
essentially banishes banished characters. But it says chosen character gains +1 lore this turn.
all right. That's excellent job there. You are absolutely correct, sir. Now, I knew you were going to know this. You know, I gave you an easy one, but I had to troll you with it. For those who are listening, during the Nationals, Phil had random little things behind the good job, and he had a bunch of these cards and kind of just gave them out to his fellow judges. I still have mine. And so, those are some of my most cherished treasures from the DLCs. Of course, we get other things and stuff too, but it's the little things like this, Moyen signed a German Hiram Flaversham for me, and things like that. And so I get little things like that just from meeting people. So, this is in there too. And I got an autographed Jafar card from a Jafar that I don't know who it is. So who he is. So
find him.
So yeah, he was giving out the Hypnotic Spectre card, or the staff, the one that has the snake on it. Yeah, that. He was giving out that with his autograph on it. That was his calling card. And so I have that. So I'm going to hold that up with the wanted sign. If you've seen this person. Yeah, I had to find this guy. Because honestly, I've said it before. I think it was back on one of the first podcasts. I was kind of like, there were 3 people who were really instrumental in me doing this. And he was one of them, and believe it or not, because he, his story of why he decided to dress up like Jafar, for Toronto. So that's his story to tell if I can find him to get on here. But I'd like to have him. So, well, good job, Phil, on that. So I knew you would know it.
The funny thing about the good jobs was I had a bunch, and the joke was that I was crossing off the good on it, and I was rewriting either amazing or awesome on it, but I also had some of them that was like trolling ones that said meh or was it a? And
that's what I got. I got a question mark on mine.
Yeah, was it a good job? It was right. But that's what's really fun. I had players, both players, judges, whoever, if they wanted one, I would shuffle it up and they would get to pick one, and then that's what I rated them for the day.
Yep. Well, I got
it.
Yep. And I think Toby's got some too. So we got to, when we see him at a DLC, he's got those Toby cards. He can start getting signed, and it's little things like that,
Have signed Toby cards.
What's that?
He does have a binder full of signed Toby cards. That's his thing now.
So that'd be great to be able to see those. So, alrighty. Well, I think that's where we're going to wrap up for today. I do have one thing. I'm going to swap my screen real quick. We don't have a sponsor, but I am going to throw out here Matified because I know the person who does this. If you've seen any of those Elsa playmats that have made it around, Craig has made those and he gave them out as prizes for folks who use as prizes. I think Dan Arnold from Forbidden Mountain just used one at a tournament at the Encounter a couple of weeks ago. But Craig at Matified makes those. He's very careful about licensing with Disney and Lorcana. So yeah, there's one right there. Yes, sir. Show that one there, Phil. That came from Matified too. So great, Matt. Hold on. I got to put it up. I see him showing it. Let me get to that. There we go. Woo. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. Pull it back a little bit, Phil, so that everybody can see it. There you go, right there. Slide it over to your right. And there we go, Judge Phil. So yeah, Craig made these too. This is one that I would love to have. But, I'll let the folks who have them just enjoy the specialness of it. So those are really cool mats, especially the stitching on the edge of it. It is the referee stitching, black and white.
Stitching is really cool.
Yeah. So anyways, Matified, if you guys can, they're www.matified.com. You can check them out, get in touch with them for your playmat needs. So they do a great job. Phil, I want to thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. And Sabrina. I enjoy it as always with you. So I look forward to our next
Thank you for
adventure
having me.
together. Hey, anytime, man. You're welcome back. If you ever want to come back and say, hey, you know what? When's the next time I can come on? Just reach out to me. So I'm pretty sure I'll be reaching out to you anyways. I'd like to hear more about the LCC stuff and, how you got involved with that, conversation we can have for another day. But I appreciate it. And for those of you who are out there who joined us in the chat and listening, thank you. I didn't do this before, and it was funny when Dan was on last week. It's automatic for him. Click that subscribe button, right? That follow or like button. For me, it's not about that, but I guess it just helps us to go out there and get known, because what we really want is to highlight the community, and those folks who are on here, we want other folks in the community to know about them. That's why we do this. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you tuning in, and you can look for us on YouTube, Lorcanarama. We'll upload this video. I'll upload Phil's contact information as part of that YouTube video as well. And so I'd like to thank you all. Phil, thank you again. Sabrina, thank you. If you guys have any closing comments, I'll flip it over to you. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye.
I'll see you next week.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. Appreciate you guys just continuing to expand Lorcana in different communities.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And thank you for your work too. So, give us a follow on here and let your folks know about this, because we'll take ideas. One of the things we'll do is as we grow this podcast, we want folks' ideals to go from one community to another, especially those at work. And the neat thing about teaming up with Sabrina, we live in two different parts of this country, and Lorcana brought us together. And the way it's done for us, we really want that to work out for other people that way too. Friendships, good friendships that way. All right, folks. You all have a great week, and we'll see you all next Sunday.